From now on, the ponderous ready-mix trucks with their revolving drums will arrive in a steady stream as the concrete is raised high above to waiting workmen. At 6 a.m., a typical construction cycle would start. Concrete is discharged from the hoist to a high-speed conveyor system. Moving 600 feet a minute, the conveyors can feed concrete to any point on the floor. By late morning, half a floor is completed. Concreting is resumed at the starting point, then carried around the other way. At noon, surveyors are able to lay out the next floor. A crew begins hoisting up column, beam, and slab forms from 3 stories below. By 4, concreting is completed and carpenters begin erecting formwork. Electrical workers will install conduits on this formwork, which will be embedded in the concrete. The next morning, and the floor is ready for visits by a number of highly skilled work crews. First, the iron workers. Then a second electrical crew at 6 a.m. At 8 o'clock, the plumbing and sheet metal workers. At 2:30, another crew of iron workers is on the job, followed 2 hours later by a second crew to complete reinforcing work. Every 48 hours, concreting would begin and the cycle repeated. Each time, 12,000 square feet about the core would become an intrinsic part of the rapidly rising towers. Five days a week, for 4 months, high above the Chicago skyline, the work went on in all kinds of weather, until on November 22nd, 1961, the East Tower was topped out. The drawings, the planety. With major structural work completed, windows are glazed and interiors finished. Work had already been completed on utilities and elevators within each core. Far below, work continued on the office structure. And again, special forms were used to form the groined members of the first 3 stories. To achieve strong lines on the south facade of the building, special sealed forms were installed vertically to handle concreting of the thin triangular mullions. To complement the natural color of the concrete towers, walls were given an attractive, rough, yet colorful texture by shooting marble chips onto the plastic concrete. To the disappointment of many a pessimistic sidewalk superintendent, the swinging cranes, which seemed to have built themselves into a corner, were easily dismantled, then carried down on the building elevators. For a few more weeks, Chicagoans continued to gaze skyward as steelworkers erected the first of 3 TV masts atop the West Tower. The men worked and complacently walked the narrow supports 969 feet off Dearborn Street. But already people were making Marina City their home. Many weeks earlier, the first occupants had gingerly stepped out onto their scalloped balconies and stayed to revel in the unsurpassed view of Chicago and the lake. This is Marina City. The buildings clustered about the plaza, so much like the city square, present a pleasing, well-scaled architectural unity. Yet it is a personal thing also. To those who work there, to those who visit, and to those who call the towers home. It is 900 residential units, each with its own balcony, with sunlight in the winter and shade in the summer. The unique design of the towers gives everyone a private entrance. Marina City is over 180,000 square feet of office space and an ice rink. There is a marina for 700 boats and a place where you can swim the year around. There are spots in which to dine and shops where you can buy almost anything you need. Or, if you prefer, plenty of room to just walk around and look up at the towers far above you. By day, these towers display a constantly changing pattern of shadow and light playing over their circular forms, so refreshingly alive when compared to the opaque, glassy facades of most modern buildings boxing in the canyon streets of our major cities. At night, it is a city aglow. This is not a 7-hour-a-day, 5-day-a-week place to get away from. Although in the heart of town, Marina City is a place where man may become a part of his productive environment 24 hours a day, all year long. Marina City is more than a structure. It is a strong influence on the architecture of tomorrow and a realistic approach to urban planning. If its critics have not spoken kindly of it upon occasion, and if it stands, perhaps a bit precociously, on the still blighted north bank of the Chicago River, Marina City remains as a working, living, and realistic approach to man's relation to the city. It is one answer to our need to understand, to design, and to build as a part of, and not in opposition to, our urban environment.